one of the many items that you're discussing at school in Villanova and on your pod and in your columns is the name, image, and likeness. Yeah. I don't even know what the phrase to use.
Wild West.
that just burst into the most ugly spectacle around, with Nick Saban essentially saying Texas A&M bought their top recruiting class, and Jimbo Fisher firing back, and the commissioner of the SEC and Greg Sankey saying, everybody hush up.
Yeah.
Let's go back to our corners and figure out, our own thing, or what we can do, what can be done. Like, what do you think can be done in order to rein in whatever needs to be reined in, and then make it uniform enough that we don't see this public spectacle anymore.
I was in this chair a year ago. The Supreme Court just happened.
Yes.
Where they scolded the NCAA for any kind of restrictions. Then, after 2 years of planning to regulate NIL, name, image, likeness, the NCAA threw up their hands. They threw up their hands. They said, we're scared of antitrust. We're scared of lawyers. We're out. And it's like, whoa. They just left it for the schools, the conferences, the state laws to enforce, and no one's enforcing it. So it's become truly the Wild West, where these collectives have formed. Collectives are donor-based pools of money to basically get players on campus, whether from high school or from transfer portal. That is exactly what NIL was not supposed to be, inducement money to get them on campus. It's become that. It's become programs like Horns for Heart in Texas, where every scholarship offensive lineman gets $50,000. To do what? Who knows? Show up for birthday parties. Who knows? And it's become this weapon to recruit. Now, Saban calls them out, right? Everyone in the murmuring about the Texas A&M recruiting class, he called it out. The murmuring about Jackson State getting that big-time recruit, he called it out. The murmuring about the Miami guy that basically owns Miami athletics, called him out. So they all clapped back, and Jimbo Fisher clapped back hard, as you saw. But then I saw who he was speaking to, Saban. And I said, oh.
The people who could put money in the Alabama
collective? Birmingham business leaders who he was basically saying, hey, guys, step it up.
That was your
my take,
interpretation.
Because we just lost. Now, he was the number 2 recruiting class. But he's like, hey, we can't lose out to Texas A&M. We got to get our guys. I don't know how you regulate it. Everyone's waiting for Congress. Congress, as you know, is a bit busy right now. There are a lot of bills floating around Congress. State laws, they're not doing anything. Alabama had a law. They repealed it because they were behind other states that didn't have laws. Who's going to really enforce this? Gene Smith, the AD at Ohio State, has said, we are going to come after someone. So maybe some school that didn't dot their I's and cross their T's, and they can make an example of them. But I don't know. I don't know how you do that.
Here's the answer, Andrew, and what I've said. I said it after the Super League got formed and lasted less than the amount of time. Belichick was the head coach of the Jets, back in last summer as well with the Super League in Europe. Is that the only space in American sports that could have the same thing and the same idea is college athletics, college football. Greg Sankey can get in a room and call up Gene Smith or obviously Gene Smith isn't the commissioner of the Big Ten, but he is the athletic director of the Ohio State, and just get together with everybody and say, let's get 40, 50 schools together. These are our rules. And you do it just as the NCAA, Mark Emmert, who's just an empty suit anyway, he's leaving.
Right.
Do it now. The NCAA, under the college football playoff umbrella, because they get to decide their own college football playoff. That's the money. That's the big money pot. Do that. Come up with your own name, image, and likeness rules, and enforce them yourselves, and see if and see who sues and see who sues, and see what the Supreme Court has to say about it. That's literally and then you play a couple seasons under it as it moves up the court system, and the rest of the country loves it. And who's gonna repeal that? Football care, you know what I'm saying? Like everyone already loves it. What are you going to repeal it? Well, so that to me is the way this thing is heading. I
think the NCAA has value for 90% of college athletics. I'm at Villanova. We have 24 sports.
Yes.
One makes money.
Hoops,
of course. Right. But that's college sports. The 90% of college sports needs kind of the basic NCAA regulation. For big-time college football and big-time college basketball, I agree with you. There's going to be something else.
Okay.
Not NCAA, something else that monitors, regulates. But the thing I mention, and maybe people are listening worry about this, but there's going to be a professional aspect to it. And the whole idea behind Emmert and the MCA has been to separate professional and amateur sports, but I don't know how you can do that anymore.
No, you're going to have to unionize and everything.
Yes, exactly. So now we're talking about salary caps. And now, Saban can't spend what he's spending. It used to be facilities that would attract these kids, right? Now it's NIL. What's your NIL? I'm hearing all these stories where kids are saying they're going to go to transfer portal unless they can get $250, unless they can get $500,000, and if not, transfer portal. So the kids, and Saban said this on that speech. He said it's like free agency without a cap. It's like free agency without a cap in college sports. So we're at a true inflection point in college sports, and your idea is a good one. It's going to professionalize. There's going to be unionization. There's going to be a salary cap. There's going to be employee status where players are going to have to worry about taxes. They're going to have to worry about insurance. All those kind of things will come into play. Somebody's going to have to get a hold of this.
I think that's the way this is headed. I mean, it's already gone. I mean, unless you're going to continue to have this construct of amateurism with all this money flowing in a way, and so Saban won't be around, I don't think, when this thing goes down. But you're already seeing it's not the same world anymore.
And these donors, if I'm a coach, I'm like worried to death because some donor bought this kid for say $250,000, and the kid doesn't, the kid is benched or the kid doesn't get the playtime he wants.
Right.
He's just going to go to the donor.
And the donor will go to the coach, and the coach will tell the donor, too bad, buddy Garrity. I'm still the coach around here, and we'll see if a coach gets fired over this sort of thing. That's maybe the way this thing can head. I don't know.
The money always talks. We'll see.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.